Whew. Is it hot in here? This is me. Undies, baby. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the WeCreat Vision, the newest laser I have down in the shop, the one-stop shop magic box, if you will. Today we're pitting myself against the machine, baby. So if you guys have done any laser engraving, you'll know that laser engraving portraits is kind of difficult. Usually takes a decent amount of editing on the front end. What we're going to do today is I'm going to edit the picture the way I would in Imager. I'm also going to just take the image and drop it directly into the software. We're going to laser engrave both of them, and we're going to see which one looks better. All right, let's get to it. I was going to go to the shop, but we need to go to the computer first, so let's go. Okay, guys, so first stop, we're going to just jump into the software for the WeCreat Vision and take a look at it. I know I didn't show a lot of it in the last video, so I just want to give you an idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my image, or an image, I guess, and bring it in here just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with this software. First off, we've got our image here. We can come up, we can go to edit image. We have the kind of the usual suspects for pre-processing. We've got a background removal tool, which, to be perfectly honest with you, is not very great. We've got an eraser tool and a crop tool. So if I do this with the tolerance that's set on there, it just kind of doesn't give me a very clean background removal. I would suggest doing this. If you have an Apple computer or phone or tablet, this works the same in all of them. You're just gonna right click, you're gonna come in, you're gonna go to remove background. It's gonna give you a new image with the background removed. And so there we have it. So the background is not in that shot anymore. It's not perfect, but it'll be good enough for laser engraving. A big thing with laser engraving is sometimes like backgrounds like this can muddy up your image. If you don't have a solid background, I would look into removing the background and or trying to edit it in a way that it looks a little bit better. Okay, so here's our image. And like I said, it's not perfect, but this will be fine for laser engraving. And now we can come up and, like I said, edit image. So you can erase if you want to erase something out of the image. You can also crop if you wanted this to just be tighter, maybe on her face, something like that. For this one, I'm going to keep it like this. A lot of times you're doing a portrait, you're doing it for a memorial or something like that. So a lot of times you're going to have some wording on there too. So they've got a text tool here that I can just be like, oh, my long lost cousin Jenny. And then of course we're going to snag this and we're going to make that a fill engrave. And then we can put that somewhere on the image as well if we want to do that. We're not going to do that for this example, but you do have the option to do text. Another cool little tool is the text path, where you're going to say Jenny, same thing, you're going to come in here and confirm, and then wherever you draw is where that's going to show up. So you can always come in here and do an arch or something along those lines. Pardon my crappy penmanship. And then, of course, you've got kind of the usual suspects for any sort of laser engraving software now. You can do a line, you can do a rectangle, you can do a circle, but you could grab a circle and come in here and do it like that. And then you could remove this area around the outside if you wanted to and give it a little bit more character so it's not just going to cut off. So next to edit image, you've got contours. I'm not really sure what this does. I haven't gotten a chance to mess with it yet, but the filters are interesting. So you can come in here and you can change your filter to, I don't know if that even shows up, but there's a slight grid pattern to this now. If I go sketch, it's going to give me these different looks, inverted, depending on what you're engraving on. You may want to invert. The comics I thought were kind of interesting. The first comics would be a good filter to use. I like that. But for this, we're going to go to no content. So in order to engrave this, I removed the background. If you don't have an Apple product, you can use this website, remove.bg. This is totally free. You just download your image, let it remove its background, and then you tell me. This actually looks a little better than it did on my Mac Studio. So I would probably go with this image. All right, so now that we've gone over some of the tools, I'm going to just drag the picture we're actually going to be working with in here. This is the image we're going to use to print from this software. So we'll save this file. Here we are in Imager. I'm going to grab the version with the background already removed. Imager actually has a background remover function as well, but since we already have it. Okay, so we don't want to crop it. We are going to resize it. We're going to go ahead and do inches, and we're going to make it 8 inches tall. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. I want to take a look at like brightness, and I bring it up and bring it down, and then I kind of get an idea for it. So one thing that I'm noticing is that we don't see a whole lot of whites. And aside from the hair, which will probably get washed out a little bit, we want to see a little bit more white in there because that's going to be just strictly the grain of the material. So I'm going to stick it kind of right about there. This is just something that you kind of get used to after a while. And then I'm going to go ahead and automatically sharpen it. Automatically sharpen it again. There we go. So I don't know if you saw that last change, but that is, that's what we're looking for. And then I'm gonna come in here and my material is gonna be, we're gonna go Norton and we're gonna go wood. And then you can do a preview and see what it looks like on that wood. We'll be using cherry, but since I don't have cherry on here, we'll, that's kind of the image we're looking for. And that looks pretty good. Okay, one thing I want to just hop back in here real quick. I did change the DPI to 254 as well instead of 72. We're gonna save that. All right, now let's head downstairs and put these head to head, baby. Computer, turn shop lights on. Woo. So here we are. We gotta clean her off. We had another project going. I was making my son's Halloween costume. I need to get the computer up and running and then get the files loaded in, and we will get to work, kids. We will get to work. Speaking of Halloween costumes, if you want to know what the settings are for a 100-watt laser to cut through half-inch EVA foam, it's 1.5 inches per second at 70% power. 70% power. Yep, there you go. Now you know. Learning spaceship. Okay, so we're just going to refresh again and get a picture of our layout. We're going to take this guy, and I kind of wish I would have cut this. Actually, you know what? Let's put this over like this. I'm going to autofocus. I'm hoping I can get both on a single piece. I didn't think that far ahead, but if we can do them right next to each other, we'll get a better idea of how they look. So let's let this thing autofocus. So I was told on my last video when I engraved a picture of Frankenstein's monster and it didn't look great. I was told it's because I used bi-directional scanning, whereas when you're doing images, you want to use unidirectional scanning. So keep that in mind. And then I'm just going to let all this stuff stay the same. All right, so it looks like we got about 2 hours to go. So let's send it. Okay, so I have brought the imager file in now, and I just left this in here to kind of place it. I'm gonna take this guy out now, and we're gonna go with this. I'm also not gonna raise the sharpness for this because I've already raised the sharpness in imager. So we're just gonna go ahead and get to work with this second image. All right, so hot off the presses, I always forget how long image engraving takes. So each one of these took about 2.5 hours, just to give you an idea. They're both about 8 inches tall to give you a frame of reference. But before we get to these and take a look at the results, I did want to show you one more thing in the WeCreat software. WeCreat software will give you suggested settings for an engrave, but it also gives you this nice little chart right here, just in case you want to go darker or lighter, like if you don't like the results. And I just wanted to point that out because it's a nice little feature to have on there. Now, results. So I have to say, I like these for different reasons, okay? But this is what we're looking at. Make sure that that's in focus. You see that? All right, so here's why I say I like these for different reasons. This is straight out the box. This is the one that just straight into the software. As far as photorealism or photo reproduction goes, this one looks amazing. This one definitely, you can see kind of some stippling and stuff in here. But I tell you what, if this is gonna be engraved on like say like marble or something like that, I don't think you would get as much nuance as you would in this one. I think this might be the way to go. But just straight out of the box, I gotta say, that's pretty freaking amazing for WeCreate to have just done that without any alterations to the photo, aside from removing the background, of course. But that looks phenomenal. Like when I first saw it, I was like, wow, like that's amazing. So working with laser engraving, I know that this has its places, and this one may need to be tweaked a little bit. But all in all, that's pretty dang good for just straight out of the box, man. I have to say, I have to give it to WeCreate for that. All right, guys, I hope this helps. I hope you learned something. If you want to know more about photo engraving, leave me a comment down below. And until next time, woo!